Hey gladiators, walk the Kame Way. If you're here right now, something broke you open. She left. She cheated. She chose someone else. Or she just walked away like you didn't matter anymore. This video is not here to comfort you. It's here to rebuild you. Chapter 1. She left. So left. Maybe she cheated. Maybe she found another man. Maybe she looked you in the eyes and said she wasn't happy anymore. Whatever happened, your life just got divided into two parts. Before she left and after. Right now, you're looking for answers. You want to know what happened. You want to know if she's thinking about you. You want to know if she's coming back. You want to know if there's still a chance to fix everything. That's normal. Every man asks those questions. But those questions create a problem. They keep your focus on her thoughts, her feelings, her choices, her new life. Meanwhile, the one person you're completely ignoring is yourself. And that's why so many men stay stuck for months, sometimes years. Your mission changed the moment she left. It is no longer to convince her, fix her, or chase her back. It is to rebuild yourself. Most men miss this shift and keep acting like the relationship can still be controlled. It can. They check their phone constantly. They replay old conversations. They imagine scenarios that don't exist. That loop becomes addiction. Not love, not healing, just obsession keeping them stuck in the past instead of living in reality. This is not a video about getting her back. It is about getting yourself back. Because if you lose yourself trying to save someone else, you end up with nothing. And that is where real change begins. Chapter 2. The mistake that destroys men. The biggest mistake men make after she leaves is not the breakup itself. It's what they do after it. They panic. They jealousy. They over-explain. They try to fix something that the other person has already emotionally exited from, and they call it love. But it isn't love anymore. It becomes desperation. Late-night texts, paragraphs nobody asked for, calls that don't get answered, apologies that repeat the same emotional loop. I'll change her. I can be better. Just give me one more chance. But attraction doesn't respond to pressure. And this is where most men don't understand reality. You cannot negotiate someone into feeling differently about you. You cannot convince someone to feel desire. You cannot argue your way back into someone's emotional decision. Once the decision is made, more communication is usually not the solution. It's the problem. Because every extra message removes a little more respect. Every extra call removes a little more dignity. Every emotional breakdown sent to her becomes proof that you are no longer centered. You are reacting, and reacting is not power. A strong man does not try to win emotional court cases after the verdict is already made. He accepts reality as it is, not because he agrees with it, but because denial keeps him stuck in a situation he can no longer control. Acceptance is not weakness, it's the start of control. Right now, your job is not to get her back. Your job is to stop doing damage to yourself. Stop checking her social media. Stop asking mutual friends about her. Stop rewriting conversations in your head, hoping for a different outcome. The past does not change because you suffer more. And here is the truth that hurts most men. If she left, she already had enough information. More text won't fix what was already decided. More emotion won't reverse clarity she already read. What you are feeling now is not a problem to solve with her. It is a storm you survive without her. A man who understands this shifts immediately. Not to punish her, not to manipulate her, but to reclaim himself. Because every day spent chasing someone who walked away is a day spent abandoning the man you could become. Chapter 3. Silence is your first power. After she leaves, silence feels wrong. Your phone gets quiet. No mensajes, no calls, no updates, and your mind starts creating panic where there is actually just space. Most men break in this phase and reach out too early. They think silence is loss. They think silence means they are being forgotten. So they interrupt it. They text. They check. They try to re-enter a life they were already removed from. But silence is not punishment. Silence is reality revealing itself. Because when you stop talking, something uncomfortable happens. You are forced to sit with your own thoughts, not her version of you, not the relationship version of you. Who's you? And that is where most men realize how dependent they became on external validation. Silence is not about making her miss you. That mindset is still dependence. Silence is about breaking your emotional attachment to reacting. Every time you don't reach out, you regain a piece of control. Every time you resist checking, you rebuild discipline. There is a difference between emotional silence and strategic silence. Strategic silence is waiting for a reaction. Emotional silence is rebuilding your internal world. So you don't need one. Only one of those actually makes you stronger. This is where men start to rebuild physically, not to impress her, but to stabilize themselves. Training becomes structure, running becomes clarity, lifting becomes discipline. Your body starts carrying what your mind cannot yet process. You are not supposed to feel good right now. You are supposed to become stable, and stability comes from action, not explanation. You don't think your way out of heartbreak. You move your way out of it. And eventually, something shifts. The silence that once felt like abandonment starts to feel like control, because you stop waiting for life to come back to you, and you start building a life that does not depend on her return. Chapter 4. Stop chasing what walked away. One of the hardest truths after she leaves is this: if someone wanted to stay, you wouldn't need to convince them. You wouldn't need perfect words. You wouldn't need timing. You wouldn't need strategies. Presence would be natural, not negotiated. Chasing creates an illusion of control. You think if you explain better, she'll understand. If you show more emotion, she'll come back. If you prove your value, she'll change her mind. But attraction doesn't work like a courtroom. There is no final argument that reverses a decision already made. Every time you chase, you're not getting closer to her. You're moving further away from yourself, because your focus shifts from building your life to managing her perception of it. And that is where men lose their identity completely. Real power is not forcing outcomes. Real power is withdrawing attention from what does not reciprocate it. You stop investing where there is no return. Not out of anger, out of clarity. There is a moment every man has to face. She is not confused, she is decided. And once you accept that, the fantasy ends, not to pain, to fantasy. Because Pain is honest. Pain says something mattered, but fantasy says you can still control what is no longer yours to control. And that is where men stay stuck for months or years. You don't heal by chasing closure from the person who created the wound. You heal by removing access. Access to your attention. Access to your reactions. Access to your emotional center. When you stop chasing, something uncomfortable happens at first. You feel emptiness. But that emptiness is not loss, it is space. And in that space, you begin to rebuild something stronger than attachment. You begin to rebuild discipline. Chapter 5. Stop making her the prize. After she leaves, most men make a hidden mistake. They turn her into the prize. The prize is the one who left. The prize is the one who rejected them. The prize is the one who moved on. And suddenly, their entire identity revolves around getting back something that is already gone. But listen carefully. She is not the prize. Your life is the prize. Your discipline is the prize. Your body, your mind, your future, your direction. That is the prize. The moment you reverse this hierarchy, you start to rebuild power. When a man loses focus, he overvalues the person who left. He forgets his routines. He stops training. He stops building. He starts analyzing her. What she's doing. Who she's with. What she posted. That is not awareness. That is self-destruction. Attraction does not grow from obsession. It is Derek. Because obsession communicates one thing. I am no longer centered in my own life, and no one is drawn to a man who is lost inside someone else's story. The solution is not hate, it is redirection. You don't need to resent her. You need to reposition your focus. Back to training. Back to structure. Back to discipline. Back to silence. Every day you spend improving yourself is a vote for your future. Every day you spend checking her life is a vote against it. This is not emotional. It is mathematical. Your attention either builds you or breaks you. The man she left must become unrecognizable. Not for revenge, not for validation, but because staying the same guarantees the same outcome, and you are done with that cycle. Chapter 6. Control your emotions, or they control you. After she leaves, the real battle is not with her anymore. It is with yourself. Your emotions will start swinging hard. One moment, anger. Next moment, sadness. Then regret, confusion, and obsession. You will feel the urge to act on every emotion immediately. To text, to call, to fix something right now. That urgency is exactly what destroys men in this phase. Because when you act from emotional spikes, you lose direction. You become reactive instead of intentional. You text when you feel lonely. You call when you feel anxious. You over-explain when you feel guilty. And every single one of those actions weakens your position. Not because emotions are bad, but because uncontrolled emotions make you predictable and easy to manipulate by your own impulses. This is where discipline replaces emotion, not suppression, not pretending you feel nothing, but structure. You feel everything, but you don't obey everything. There is a difference between experiencing pain and acting on pain. One is human, the other is self. A strong man learns to pause between feeling and action, and that pause is where control is built. One of the most effective ways to handle this is physical release. Training, running, lifting weights, or hitting a heavy bag. Not to impress anyone, not for her, but because your body needs somewhere to send the emotional pressure. Science shows exercise helps regulate stress hormones like cortisol and restores dopamine balance, which directly reduces emotional volatility during breakup stress. Another key is delaying reactions. When you feel the urge to text her, you don't act immediately. You wait. You breathe. You let the emotional wave pass. Most impulsive actions come from temporary spikes, not real decisions. If you can delay action by even 20 to 30 minutes, you start breaking the automatic loop between emotion and behavior. That is how emotional control is trained. Over time, this builds a new identity. You stop being a man who reacts to everything. You become a man who chooses his actions. That shift changes everything. Not just your relationship outcome, but how you carry yourself in life. Because control over your internal state is what creates real strength. And once you gain that, you stop chasing closure from others. You create it yourself. Chapter 7. Rebuilding the man she left. When she leaves, most men try to fix the relationship. They search for answers, techniques, messages, and ways to win her back. But that mindset keeps you stuck in the same emotional loop. The real shift happens when you stop trying to repair the past and start rebuilding the man who existed before all of this broke you open. This is where structure becomes everything. You need something to replace the mental chaos. Not distraction, but discipline. This is why men who go through breakups and actually transform often join martial arts, Muay Thai, BJJ, boxing. Something that forces presence. Something that doesn't care how you feel, only how you show up. When you walk into a gym like that, nobody cares what she did. Nobody cares what you lost. You're just another guy learning to fight, learning to breathe under pressure, learning to control panic. That environment rebuilds your nervous system. It teaches you that discomfort is not something to escape, but something to work through. And yes, something interesting happens. You become more grounded, more confident, more complicate. Ironically, that's often when people from your past start noticing the change. But that is not the goal. The goal is not to be seen differently. The goal is to become different. Do it for you, not for anyone watching from the outside. This is the bulletproof phase. Not because nothing affects you, but because you stop letting emotions dictate your direction. You train, even when you don't feel like Italiano. You show up, even when your mind is loud. You build consistency when everything inside you wants chaos. That is how a man becomes stable again. And you replace old habits with new ones. Instead of checking your phone, you go train. Instead of replaying memories, you run. Instead of looking back, you move forward. Physically, your body becomes the anchor for your mind. Over time, the emotional weight loses control over you because your discipline becomes stronger than your attachment. If you're watching this, don't stay stuck in thought. Take action. Join a martial arts gym. Step into something uncomfortable. Build structure where there was chaos. And if this message hit you, subscribe to the Kame Way and join the tribe, because this is where men rebuild themselves, not by talking but by becoming. Chapter 8. Massive success is the best revenge. Frank Sinatra said, "The best revenge is massive success." After everything, There comes a moment where you stop thinking about her entirely, not because you forced yourself to forget, but because your life finally became bigger than the pain. That is the real win, not getting her back, not proving anything, but becoming someone who is no longer defined by what happened. There is a quote often repeated for a reason. The best revenge is massive success. It's not about revenge in the emotional sense. It's about direction, because the strongest response to loss is not obsession. It is construction. You stop analyzing the past and start building something that actually requires your full attention to maintain. This is where physical and emotional discipline merge. Many men benefit from having something at home to release pressure. A punching bag, for example, becomes a private space to process frustration, anger, and sadness, not to destroy anything, but to express what the mind cannot fully articulate. Movement turns emotion into something usable instead of something destructive. When you train like this consistently, something shifts internally. You stop carrying emotional weight into your daily life. You become more present, more stable, more focused, and slowly, your identity stops orbiting around a relationship that ended and starts orbiting around your own growth, your own discipline, your own future. You'll also begin to notice something important. The same situations that once broke you no longer control you. You don't react the same way. You don't spiral the same way. You don't chase the same way. That is what real progress looks like. Not perfection, but control. And control over yourself is the foundation of everything else in life. And if you take nothing else from this video, take this. Build a life that does not collapse when someone leaves it. Train your body. Train your mind. Find discipline in discomfort. Use silence as strength. And move forward with intention, not emotion. Because the man you become after this is the real story, not what happened before it. If you made it here, you already understand this isn't about her anymore. It's about what you become after everything falls apart. Most men go back to old habits. A few use this moment to change their entire life. Pain can destroy you or build you. If you use it right, it becomes discipline, focus, and direction. That's the difference between staying stuck and becoming someone unrecognizable. This is the Kame Way. Not motivation for a day, but a standard for life. A way of turning setbacks into structure and emotion into action. Join the tribe. Build yourself every day, even when nobody is watching. Walk the Kame Way.